Well, welcome to the follow-up after show. It's kind of a web extra for your viewers that watch the big show here on the follow-up. Chance to delve into these topics and issues a little bit further that we did not get into the big show. Jarret Skorup, Director of Marketing and Communication, the Mackinac Center for Public Policy out of Midland, was with us at the big show. We got more to talk about in the after show. On the big show, we sort of focused on the right to work and how Governor Whitmer in this second term may want to repeal that. It remains to be seen. What other sort of big rocks, big priority policy issues do we need to look at that she's going to bring to the table?
Yeah, the way there are ongoing issues always that the state has. The number one thing, and it's the only constitutionally mandated thing the legislature has to do, is pass a balanced budget. Mm-hmm. And so that has to be done by the end of September, but typically they start working on that pretty quickly here, February, March, April, something like that. Most of our budgets in recent years have been passed by the summertime. And, you know, for one thing, the state is flush with money. We've had a lot of federal money come in. We've had very strong tax returns. And so it makes it easier because there's a lot of money to spend. On the other hand, I think a lot of economists think that we're headed towards a slowdown, potentially a recession, at least in the next couple of years. But at the very least, we're just not going to see as strong of tax returns that we've seen. And so there's big debates over how do we distribute that budget money. Every area of the budget, of course, wants more money, and there's a lot of new lawmakers that have projects that they'd like to fund.
Yeah, it's a funny time economically. Funny, I say, not great. Inflation at a 40-year high, and yet unemployment is very low. And I suppose the governor can say, we've got an enormous amount of money, but that's a rainy day fund with the recession. And so she may want to hang on to it, but obviously a lot of folks want a big piece of the pie. I know during her inauguration, she brought up two things that sort of caught my eye. One, sort of tax relief for seniors, trying to reduce, I think, or drop the pension tax is sort of one thing she's been campaigning on, and the other one has to do with sort of gun control, the red flag laws. My guess is those are the ones she's going to try to pitch first. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the EITC, which is Earned Income Tax Credit, so it's a tax credit for lower income residents. So Michigan has, every state gives certain exemptions to pension income. Michigan does as well, which is basically you're exempt on all retirement income, pensions or 401k, up to $20,000 a person or $40,000 per family. The governor and some lawmakers want full exemptions for all pension income across the board. The problem with that is it tends to be very expensive, and it also means that some seniors, like 20% of them who get pensions, are getting a tax benefit that everybody else does not get. So the politics on that are, I think, more contentious than people think, especially for new lawmakers. And you got to make it work in the budget. The Earned Income Tax Credit, maybe that's a little bit more of something. That has certainly been something that Republicans in the past have signed on to. It's a bit of a tax loophole. There are some fraud issues with that. But I think that it's one of the key ways you can get extra money towards lower income population, or at least somewhat lower income population. So those right out of the gate, if it's a bipartisan issue, it's more likely to get taken up. But then there's lots of issues that maybe purely Democrats like, and getting that through with a very narrow majority, that's some other issues that were, maybe along the gun control line, along right to work, and some of these other things that maybe are off people's radars.
Yeah, you mentioned that during our big show. Both the House and the Senate, for the first time in a long time, are Democratic controlled, but the majority, I think, in both is like, I think it's one vote, and I think the legislate in the
two people, but that's one vote. So if one Democrat joins Republicans.
So it's very tight, and so she's got to be careful what you wish for. We may hear more in the State of the State, which is on January 25th, although that tends to be more style over substance, but we'll see. So hey, nice to see you again. Thanks for coming in. We'll do it again down the road.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us for the After Show.